It is Thursday, August 18th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. It is a Thursday puzzle, of course, which means we might be in for some sort of tricky or intricate or obscure theme. We'll have to see. And as a warning, it's possible this solve will be interrupted. I'm expecting a delivery, and if the doorbell rings, I'll have to dash off and get that. So there might be, I guess it won't really make much difference for you now that I think about it. There might be an interruption for me and an almost imperceptible interruption for you. So this potentially interrupted edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Cynthia Toms, Connor O'Neill, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster, the invaluable Timothy Mark, and the indomitable Shoalmaster. So thank you so much to the 5 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for bringing us this edition of the Daily Solve and for directly supporting this channel. I do very much appreciate that. And if you'd like to join their ranks as a benefactor and get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug, you can find that at patreon.com/dailysolve. There's a link in the description field underneath the video, and by following that link, you can also become a backer of the Patreon campaign at any level, which will grant you access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the Patreon site to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And thank you again to everybody who has contributed in any form or fashion to the Patreon campaign. I really do appreciate that. So thank you. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, please do, and join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. There's a link in the description field underneath the video to that as well. And now let's get on to the puzzle. So this is a Thursday crossword, as noted by Adam Wagner. Adam Wagner has constructed somewhere around 10 puzzles for the New York Times. The French have a word for about 10, the dizaine, which is derived from the French for 10, dix, and it's a very useful word. It'd be nice if we had something like that in English. You'd often want to say around 10 of something. The only real closest thing we have is a dozen, which is just too many. What if you want to refer to 8 or 9? About a dozen doesn't work. Anyway, Adam Wagner constructed environ une dizaine of New York Times crosswords, and Will Shortz edited it, as always. I don't know why it's edited in that order. It was edited, as always, by Will Shortz. Boy, it felt strange to say it the other way. Anyway, let's start solving. All right, cleric's closet full. What would a cleric have a closet full of? Cowls or robes or... I don't know. One working on a tablet, say. An etcher, maybe? Someone etching a stone tablet? That's a wild stab, but let's see. Bounce off the way. I don't think this is going to be right. Country with more immigrants than any other, informally. Informally. I mean, my assumption based on size would be the United States in terms of immigration-heavy countries that are large. So it might just be the U.S. One working on it. Oh, maybe it is etcher. I can't decide if I think that's a good guess or not. Bounce off the walls. Echo. Right. Sound literally bounces off the walls. It echoes. There we go. Okay, fruit container is, I don't know, kind of lane is, why can't I see what that is? Poison control remedy and home of more than 16,000 slot machines. Reno, Nevada? No. I don't know. Boy, this feels like a difficult puzzle to me so far, which I suppose makes sense. The first 3 days of this week were particularly straightforward, I thought. Google's streaming device. Okay, I know this. It's a Chromecast. I know this because I own one. So there we go. Chromecast is the thing you can plug into your TV and it has all the, streaming apps on it and everything. Fruit container is kind of lane. Oh, I see. All right. This is HOV lane. It's high occupancy vehicle, I think, is what HOV means. It's the carpool lane, essentially, on many U.S. motorways. Poison control remedy. Oh, an emetic, maybe? Right. Sorry. For some reason, I saw poison control, and I was thinking of something completely different. But an emetic, it prompts you to regurgitate, right? So it's used to help address poison ingestion. Home of more than 16,000 slot machines. I really wonder if this is Reno something. Reno, Nevada, abbreviated this way, maybe? Not sure. I mean, I could conceive of this being the case because New York Times doesn't consider the sort of long form U.S. state abbreviations to be abbreviations in their clues. In other words, if you see California abbreviated this way in a New York Times crossword clue, it doesn't mean the answer to the clue will be abbreviated. Whereas other things, like, for instance, in this clue, we have fig abbreviated this way to figure, a figure abbreviated this way to fig, sorry. This suggests to me that the answer will be an abbreviation. And in this case, I think it is. I think it's a Social Security number, the figure whose first 3 digits were geographically based until 2011. So the Social Security number is an identifying number in the United States that is now used for all sorts of things, not just the Social Security system. And it used to be that the first 3 digits were based on, I think, where you were born or where your birth was registered. But that was considered to be not particularly secure, so they changed it. Anyway, paradise. Oh, so heaven. Heaven. So that Reno is sort of interesting. Accessory for dinner and a show. A top hat? Why? Attempts to be a team player. Oh, fruit container is a fruit crate. Right. I got that because I was thinking attempts to be a team player. This just looks like it ends in out. So you tries out. Yes, that's it. You try out for a team. So your ambition is to be a player on the team. Bladders, e.g. Could be sacks. Anatomically speaking, bladder is sort of a sack. And this spelling of sacks is the anatomical one as opposed to S-A-C-K, which would be, a bag in a more manufactured sense. Gray's Anatomy error. Don't know. Oh, sometimes the New York Times uses the sort of official name for television networks, so it'll be, NBC TV or CBS TV or something like that, referring to one of the major U.S. networks. So this might end in TV. Bland. And juice veggie. Could be acai. Could always be acai. The most favored fruit of the New York Times. Does that work here? No, maybe not. I can't think of, so this would I assume Grey's Anatomy was on major American network television, so it would be NBC, CBS, ABC, or Fox, I guess. None of those really look like they work, so it's not acai. So anyway, I'm just going to move on. It's on the hook. Meat is on the hook, a meat hook, I don't know. Cleric's closet full, right. Okay, let's keep going. Fitness class inspired by ballet. Taibo? No idea if that's right, but it just looks like it would sort of fit. Common creature in rebus puzzles. I wonder if that's an oblique hint to this being a rebus puzzle. I have no idea. Common creature in rebus puzzles. A bee, maybe? Right, so this is referring to, this is a bit, it's funny that this is in here because this is referring to the more common and traditional meaning of the word rebus as opposed to what it means specifically in the New York Times crossword. So in puzzle solving broadly, a rebus refers to, well, not just puzzle solving. A rebus refers to often using some kind of pictographic way to represent a sound homophonically or linguistically. So a picture of a B might represent the letter B, or it might represent the word B, B-E, as in I will be fine, or something like that. And then in the New York Times crossword, it specifically refers to getting a full word into one cell. Anyway, okay, well, let's see. ¿Cómo estás in Spanish? How are you, I guess? Is that what it is? Or is it how are things? As I have to frequently notice, I sadly do not really know Spanish, which is quite unfortunate, and I should learn it. Kind of alcohol that is a fermented biofuel. ethyl alcohol. Is that right? Night class, perhaps in brief, could be ESL, English as a second language, and accessory for dinner and a show. Right, so what is this? Paradise. This looks like heaven on earth. Maybe this is a rebus puzzle. I mean, you could spell one here. That still wouldn't be enough, though. You'd still need AR. That looks kind of weird. Heaven. This could, oh, right, this could be near. So, fitness class inspired by ballet. Doesn't really look like anything. Could this be near and far? Oh, Bar. Bar is a fitness class inspired by ballet. Oh, wait, something's... Heaven on earth. Heaven... Litter maker. So if we spelled heaven on earth this way, heaven on earth, Coney, 1A? Oh, it's 1A. So a litter maker is a cat. Is that right? What is this then? Tatre? I'm doing something wrong here. So ironically, this... this is sort of a rebus in the sense that the litter maker is a cat. I think this is maybe supposed to just be a regular letter. So here we have, well, maybe, I don't know, I can't really tell. No, sorry. Wow, that's funny. I sort of accidentally invented a way for this to be solved that isn't correct, I think. So here we have litter maker, which I thought could be 1A. In other words, 1A goes into cat. And then that also spells heaven on earth if you spell out 1A in the rebus. But I think that's wrong. I think I should go back to my initial uneasiness about this abbreviated Reno, Nevada, and I bet this will work if we do this. So heaven, yeah, none is better than 1A. So here we have heaven on earth spelled with none in a rebus cell, and then home of more than 16,000 slot machines will indeed be Reno, Nevada, the state, the city in the sort of gambling-friendly state in the United States. So I see. Then we have accessory for dinner and a show, a TV tray. So this is referring to a TV dinner, which you would, literally have in front of you watching television. Okay, so antique tint would be sepia tint. So that classic sort of brownish hue that you see in old photographs. And kind of adapter, an AC-DC adapter. You might convert between the two, I suppose. Wouldn't you need more than an adapter to do that? But no longer done could be passé. That particular, convention is passé. And many an auditor for short. A CPA, certified or chartered public accountant. And, all right, so I need to be on the lookout for this. So we have none here. So I wonder what that refers to. Smooths in a way. Sands, you could sand something down, smooth it out. Prefix meaning 10, that's associated with 12. Oh, that's clever. Yes. So I put in deck because of the 10 sort of connotation of it, and it wasn't until I typed it out that I realized why it's associated with 12. It's because it looks like the month, well, it's the abbreviation for the month of December, which is, of course, the 12th month of the year, and so is written as 12. Proverbial assessment for whether or not an idea can be taken seriously. I'm not sure. Oh, the something test, a smell test or something? Khan, who founded Khan Academy. Oh, this is a YouTube-based, or probably not YouTube, but it's some sort of online-based learning, video-based learning site. I do know this. Sal Khan, I think. don't even know that I've ever watched any of these videos, but I do remember just hearing about this person one time. And then, so what is this? L test? Maybe this is the rebus or a rebus. Not sure what's going on with that. Parts of a spine, discs. You can get a sort of, dislocated disc or whatever in your spine or something like that. I guess that would be pretty bad, a dislocated disc. Anyway, in yours, so if you're inured to something, you're sort of acclimated to it. So in yours is, not sure. Targets of some waxing. This looks like bikini lines, maybe? Because of these two eyes? I'm not sure. Cleric's closet full. Oh, this, right, I have to remember any of these could be rebuses. So these both seem like they have pretty, the rebuses would be very short, though. It's on the hook. Juice, okay, I'm running out of steam. I'm going to keep going until I find something I can actually put in. Big thing overseas. I'm not sure what that is looking for. Big, not sure. Hive-minded. Apian, so related to bees. Still shrink-wrapped, say, is new. And pay-to-play could be to ante into a poker game, for instance. Ambitious, oh, interesting. Ambitious email, here's our revealer, I think. Ambitious email goal and a hint to 4 squares in this puzzle. Oh, right. Inbox, none. That's funny. In box, comma, none. So in 4 boxes in this puzzle, we put none. Okay, well, that's good to know. That means I know what rebus I'm looking for. We're not looking for something like none and then 1, 2, 3 or something, and these are different amounts. They are all none. Inbox none. So this refers to, this was sort of trendy, I think, maybe 5-10 years ago or so, perhaps. The idea of always keeping your email at 0 unread messages. So your goal would always be to sort of take care of it to that standard every day. I mean, I'm sure people still do that, but I remember it was something people talked about a lot several years ago. What a cellist may take on stage in 2 senses. So they might take a bow or a bow. They will take their bow onto stage in order to play the cello, and then they will take a bow after having used it. Misters. Atomizers? Right. So I spent a few moments thinking about this. Misters as in sirs, men, people who referred to by Mr. Didn't really get anywhere with it. So I think what this means is a mister, something that produces liquid mist. And so in other words, it atomizes the liquid, an atomizer. Tricky billiards shot. A carom, sort of carom's off the side, maybe? I have no idea if that's actually a piece of billiards language, but that's just, it's an English, it's a word in English. I think particularly American English. But I don't actually know if it's a billiards concept, but let's just see. It seems like it might be. First, yeah, I think it is. First X or O would be tick, as in tic-tac-toe in the game of tic-tac-toe, or noughts and crosses in the UK. Proverbial assessment for whether, okay, this doesn't look like it has a rebus, so is it the L test? Whether or not an idea can be taken seriously. Maybe it's not. Test? Don't think I know what this is. More likely to get coal, perhaps, would be naughtier. Oh, maybe these are different ways of spelling none. Well, but this one literally says none, and in the grid it was none. I'm wondering if we're going to be using things like not or nil or nada or something, but I don't know. More likely to get coal, perhaps. I assume this is referring to Santa's naughty and nice lists. This person would be naughtier. Oh, that would be ought. Oh, right. Okay, so oh, the laugh test. Right, okay, I see. Oh, that's funny. Proverbial assessment for whether or not an idea can be taken seriously. So in this case, you're sort of testing as to whether it isn't taken seriously, I suppose. I mean, it's still, the clue still works, but it is very lightly misdirected, I think, which is maybe one of the reasons I had trouble with it. So the laugh test, I see. Okay, to seal the deal is to ice it, I suppose, and to pat something down is to tamp it down. This too shall pass, for one. A maxim, I guess, sort of common saying, something that holds some degree of truth that you can repeat, have at hand. Brought up is raised in a literal sense. Stately estate would be a manor, a stately home. Oh, this doesn't look right. In public. Something's wrong. Captures a poisoned pawn in chess, e.g. Okay, yeah, something is definitely... A prescription amount is a dose. Oh, maybe it's... Oh, right, sorry. It's not... Did I say inbox none or did I say inbox 0? I think I may have said inbox 0 while writing in none because it was up here. It's much better for this to not match because that would have made it more clear to me initially that these are going to be different. Sorry, I'm sure you all were completely baffled as to what I was doing. That made no sense at all. Oh, whoops, I've spelled atomizers in the British fashion, I guess. It's just what I'm accustomed to now, I suppose. And then, so it needs a Z, and then this looks like, the reason that came to mind is because this looks like pizza. So cheesy dish served Detroit style is some kind of pizza. I've made Detroit style pizza once or twice. It's a very thick, almost springy pizza, and the cheese goes right to the edge. You need almost a special pan with sort of canted sides to properly prepare it. It's really nice. It's barely even what I would consider pizza, but that's not a knock against it. It's a nice dish. It's just very different than the pizza I'm accustomed to. Anyway, an RX amount is a dose, so this isn't a manner. And captures a poison pawn in chess. I guess that's errors, as in makes an error, commits an error, makes a mistake. So this is a manse. There we go. Okay, it's fair enough, another term for stately estate. And then in public, you're seen. Makes perfect sense now that the atomizers has been, or the inbox 0 has been corrected. Okay, so I'm not sure what, so, cheesy dish served Detroit style. I'm not sure what this wants. There might be a rebus in it, I don't know. Break into parts and analyze. Strip, maybe, as in you could sort of strip down a piece of electronics or something. I'm not sure if that's right. Tag along. Take the wrong way. This could also be err, or it could be sin or something in a metaphorical sense. Indian princes. Ranis? Are those princesses? I think Ranis is princesses. So princes would be Rajas. And take the wrong way is... Don't know. This J looks tempting, though. Hot tub shindig. A jacuzzi party? I can't tell if I should be looking for a rebus in here or if I should just be looking for a different term. Maybe there's a three-letter second word that works better. Let's just check these. Or is it 2 C's? No, it looks better this way. Bits in a salad, perhaps. Bacon, you could have bits of bacon in a salad, I suppose. And take the wrong way. This may rub you the wrong way? I guess that's why the question mark there is a bit of a punny answer. Is that right? In other words, it'll rub you the wrong way. You'll take this the wrong way. I think that might be what that's getting at in a sort of self-referential way. Some tracks are what? And 1972 Gilbert O'Sullivan hit with a melancholy title. Alone, maybe? That sounds sort of melancholy. I'm not sure if I know this song. I'm just sort of, at this point, I'm now heaping speculation upon speculation. Some tracks. Urals? It's in the Ural Mountains? I probably have done something wrong here. Large vat. Oh, this could be, is it a ton? I think it's a large vat. Game face. something is wrong here, but some things are also right. So yeah, it's difficult. State gemstones of Utah and Texas. Okay, well, this certainly isn't knowledge I have, but just with the crosses available, it does look like topaz, doesn't it? Game face. And break into parts and analyze. Oh, parse. You could parse a sentence, for instance, break it into parts and analyze, or many other things, but that's one example. Almond confection. Oh, marzipan? Oh, zip. Zip, zip, zip. Right. That helps. That helps jacuzzi party as well. So, yes, this is marzipan and a jacuzzi party. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now we have 3 of our inboxes zeros. Back is ago, as in 3 years back, 3 years ago. Alone again, maybe? Gilbert O'Sullivan. Actually, that does sort of sound familiar. But I don't think I know it well. Small oily fish. Is it a sprat? I'm certain I know this, but I just can't bring it to mind. I think it might be. Showing a conceited attitude. Snotty, maybe? And, oh, pan pizza. Right, okay, I do think it is sprat. And then to face plant is to eat it, to fall flat on your face. And then part of a Madison Avenue mailing address would be New York, New York. Madison Avenue is in Manhattan, and the city is abbreviated NYNY, so there we go. Sorry, by which I mean Manhattan is one of the boroughs of New York City. I sort of left that step out. Oh, a game face is an avatar. Right, so the face you select in an online game. And then some tracks are ovals. Oh, right, okay. I was trying to be too clever here with take the wrong way, and the result was that I wasn't clever at all. I was completely incorrect. Take the wrong way is to rob. That's a much better answer. In other words, the wrong way to take something is to rob it from somebody, to steal it. And then some tracks, racing tracks, for instance, could be oval-shaped. Okay, tag along is to come. Okay, I'll tag along. Straightforward enough. A jiffy is a short period of time. A sec, just 1 sec, 1 second, 1 jiffy. And it's a start, is an onset maybe, literally a start. Mars's counterpart would be Ares, so the god of war, whose Greek incarnation is Ares and whose Roman incarnation is Mars. Xiaolong Bao, soup dumplings maybe? Big thing overseas. Big Ben, maybe? So by overseas, I guess they mean here in the UK, actually. Specifically here in London. So Big Ben, the bell, famously the large bell in the clock tower at the Houses of Parliament. People often use Big Ben to refer to the clock tower itself, even though it technically refers to the bell. But everybody knows what you mean either way, so it's basically fine. I think the tower is, these days, known either as the Elizabeth Tower or St. Stephen's Tower. There actually isn't a definitely, historically certain name for the tower itself. But I think the 2 contesting primary options are the Elizabeth Tower and St. Stephen's Tower that house Big Ben, the big bell. Anyway, bland is what? I don't know. Targets of some waxing. Okay, this does look like bikini lines, doesn't it? So how are we... Is there something else that isn't bikini that I'm not thinking of? There probably is. Oh, nil. Right, sorry. So where does that go? Right here. Oops. Yes, there we go. Okay, there we go. That was right after all. Wish I would have gotten that earlier, but that's okay. So bland looks like vanilla, which I have to say, I really object to this this tendency in the language to use vanilla to mean bland, because it's actually, vanilla is quite a not bland flavor. We only really use it to mean bland because it has, for whatever reason, become the base flavor of ice cream to which other flavors are added, but vanilla itself is an incredibly strong and memorable flavor. It's just that we happen to use it in a way where it serves as a base for other things, but it's definitely not actually bland. It isn't, in fact, bland. But anyway, obviously I understand. I understand why it is used in that way, and I understand the clue, so let's move on. Half of the only mother-daughter duo to be nominated for acting Oscars for the same film. Oh, interesting. Half of the... Oh, Laura Dern? I don't know actually what this was referring to. So, yeah, sorry, I'm not sure. I don't know what film this is or who the other nominee was. Laura, it's interesting. I'll have to look that up. Cleric's Closet Full. Oh, is it albs? Yes, an alb is some sort of religious article of clothing, but I can't quite place it offhand, but I recognize it now that I have almost the whole word filled in. So Grey's Anatomy narrator, it must be ABC TV, I suppose. And then It's on the Hook is bait. Right. You go fishing and you put bait on the hook. And then a juice veggie is a cucumber. And then in yours is, oh, I see, you steel yourself. You're inuring yourself to, you're steeled against some particular form of difficulty or hardship or challenge. And there we go. All right. So I started out really struggling with this puzzle, didn't I? And then even when I sort of understood what was going on with this theme, this theme answer in particular, I forced it into being solved in a completely incorrect way, but I think a relatively plausible way. That was very interesting, the way that worked out with that heaven 1A earth thing and then 1A for cat. It kind of makes me want to see that used. Maybe it has been. I don't know. It would be difficult because there aren't very many. I mean, you could then have two letters, but then what would you spell that uses 2A or something like that? That doesn't seem likely. Yeah, that's probably not a practical. Unless maybe it's all 1A. Maybe you could probably find enough that were just 1A, and then the answer could be about something being top notch or something. I don't know. The revealer, I mean. Anyway, sorry. So here's our inbox 0, and it refers to our 4 squares, our none, our inbox none, our inbox nil, inbox aught, and inbox zip. So there we go. Very clever theme. And those comprised Heaven on Earth in Reno, Nevada, vanilla and bikini lines. I kept wanting to say Burkina Faso for some reason. That was very strange. Naughtier and Laugh Test, and finally Jacuzzi Party and Marzipan. And there we go. That's it. And yes, a good solid puzzle. Definitely the trickiest of the week for me so far, although I suppose that is what one would expect on a Thursday. It's when we transition into the tricky puzzles, in my opinion. And so, having done all of that, let's get on to the clues from yesterday's puzzle. And look at this, we've made it through without being interrupted just yet, so perhaps that luck will continue for the next few minutes while I read these clues. Let's see. So, correcting a straightforward mistake I made, sorry about this, the plebiscide explains a neap tide is a low tide that is lower than average, which conflicts with what I said yesterday. Sorry about that. I was not quite right about that. It occurs 7 days after a spring tide, which is a higher than average high tide. Thank you very much. I appreciate that correction. And then Kathleen Quinn regarding the Red Sox and why it's, well, the origin of the name, the Boston Red Sox, and also why it's spelled as such. So I'm going to paraphrase this a bit. Kathleen Quinn took this from a GBH blog. She says, in the 19th century, baseball was essentially a sporting startup. Professional teams came and went, and names of these teams were often informally coined by fans, often referring to what they wore. So you had red stockings, white stockings, brown stockings in various cities, and in Boston you had the Red Stockings. Now, apparently that was considered too long for newsprint, so especially in headlines, And so a particular editor, here we go, Joseph Medill, the 19th century publisher of the Chicago Tribune, was a big fan of earlier proposed spelling reforms of the English language. Noah Webster, and you may have heard about this. I don't know. This is something I was generally familiar with. Noah Webster was, you know his name from Webster's Dictionary. He was a big proponent of spelling reform, simplifying English spelling, both to make it easier to learn and to be more consistent, because English spelling is obviously, as many languages are, not all, but many, are very inconsistent in their spelling. He wanted to standardize it, and one of those methods of standardization was changing something like CKX to the letter X. And I guess Joseph Medill, the 19th century publisher of the Chicago Tribune, was a big fan of this. So for the Chicago White Stockings, or White Sox, I guess he abbreviated it down to White SOX, and I guess that convention stuck. And so now we have the Boston Red Sox as well. So anyway, that was a very interesting little potted history of the name of the Boston Red Sox. Thank you, Kathleen. And then moving on, John Mayhew explains the German word DREI for three is a homophone of dry. And Ben Ward says it's a bit odd that Chris correctly pronounced ein and zwei, but then switched sounds for what I said as dre. Sorry about that. Ein, zwei, drei. It should have occurred to me that they are spelled in a similar manner and are spelled the same way. Speaking of spelling and pronunciation. So sorry about that, and thank you for the correction. And then going back to the Red Sox, Bradley says the curse of the Bambino, referred to in yesterday's puzzle, does indeed refer to Babe Ruth. The Red Sox were one of the most successful baseball teams in the earliest 20th century, and Babe Ruth played the first 5 years of his career there. In 1920, the Red Sox sold Ruth to the Yankees and did not win another World Series until 2004. And then, speaking of baseball trivia from the puzzle, Ebbets Field, which was referenced and wasn't something I personally recognized, was the home of the Brooklyn Dodgers, demolished in 1960, a few years after the Dodgers moved to Los Angeles and became the Los Angeles Dodgers, so thank you for that. Ben Ward explains, apparently the name Def Leppard, the band, is indeed derived from a conceivable animal, leopard, that is deaf, that does not hear, rather than definite leopard or high-definition leopard, say. The misspellings were added to make the name seem less like that of a punk band. That's funny. That's an interesting rationale. I wonder what I would love to hear what that conversation was. Sam, aka Frisco17, points out that Psy's Gangnam Style, the hit song, was probably a decade old, which was absolutely correct. The iconic music video for the song came out 10 years ago as of last month, and that is the doorbell, so I do have to interrupt myself, and I'll be back soon. Okay, I'm back. I was about to say thanks for waiting, and then I realized you didn't really need to, but anyway, I am back, and we have one final clue to address. This was American Pharoah, the intentional misspelling of American Pharoah, the successful racing horse. And the plebiscite says, according to Wikipedia, American Pharoah was inadvertent. Exactly how it happened is a matter of controversy, apparently. And I did end up reading about this. It's pretty interesting. Well, it's interesting, but also inconclusive. So Tom N. says, the story that I've heard is that the owner put the horse's name to a vote, and the winning vote was American Pharoah, spelled incorrectly. The owner decided to go with it. And that is true. What is still slightly unknown is where the misspelling entered in, because the person who submitted the idea, American Pharoah, claims she checked the spelling before submitting it. So there have been accusations essentially at every step along the way. Each person responsible for moving the name from idea to submission, and then submission to selection, and then selection to registration with the authority. At every point, it seems as though there has been at some point an allegation that was where the misspelling was introduced, but nobody has admitted to it or acknowledged their role in the misspelling. So anyway, it was entered officially as American Pharoah, spelled Pharoah, and that's the name of the horse. And now, apparently, because the horse has been so successful, particularly successful horse names are not sort of retired after a certain amount of time, whereas some horse names, if the horse doesn't become successful enough, the name will eventually be released for other racing horses to use. That will not happen with American Pharoah, which also means a correct spelling is not allow. So you couldn't name your horse properly spelled American Pharoah in the future because it would be considered too close to the original horse's name and therefore likely to cause confusion. So I think that's very funny. And my absolute favorite comment, maybe one of my favorite comments anybody has ever left on this series, is from Bradley regarding this topic, who says, "I assumed it was misspelled to appear to rhyme with American Samoa. I guess not." That is just such a brilliant way of interpreting this. It never occurred to me, but yes, American Pharoah, you could absolutely pronounce it that way if indeed you suspected it were some kind of pun relating to American Samoa. That is, I absolutely adore that. So I think I'm probably in my head, to the extent that I ever do see this horse's name again, which isn't likely to be often, but if I do, I will probably internally read it as American Pharoah, and I hope you do as well. And with that, I'll be back tomorrow for the Friday edition of the Crossword, the first non-themed, the first themeless puzzle of the week of two, and should be a tricky one. Come back for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Thursday. Take care.